Hello, friends. This is another episode of 10 Minutes with TmFal, and this is your host, TmFal. And today we're going to be talking about knowing yourself. It's a lifelong journey of self-discovery. So this is about knowing yourself, and it's something that I think is really critically vital and important to our growth. And in my book, The Decade After Thriving After Divorce, I do talk about growth and knowing yourself as an important part of that. So knowing yourself is kind of like, SWOT analysis, which a lot of us use, in our work and other charts and businesses when we're talking about organizational change and trying to move forward and trying to assess our competition and things like that. So we do the SWOT analysis, which is really looking at your strength, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in terms of our business and organizations. But really thinking about that as something we can do on ourselves. So for this episode, we're going to talk about knowing yourself, why this is important. We'll talk about 5 reasons why this is important. That's the why. We'll talk about when do you need to do this. We'll talk about how to do this, times when you go into this journey of self-discovery. We'll talk about three ways, and also what you need to get it done. So knowing yourself, like I said, critically and vitally important for our growth. So why is this important? So 5 reasons why knowing ourselves and making intentional plans to dig deep are important. 5 reasons. 1, it's really key to navigating life and being able to live in our truth and being authentic selves. So to be able to live an authentic life where you're true to yourself, you need to know yourself. And so that's really critically important. It's key to navigating life. 2, it allows us to identify our priorities, our needs. And that's really important because once you know who you are and you've taken time to know yourself, then you're able to better identify what your priorities are, what your goals are, set vision for short and long-term things you want to accomplish. You know your needs and you know your wants. So critically important. 3, it allows us to set boundaries. It allows us to set expectations, and people know what we will accept or not accept because we ourselves know these things. So when we ourselves know what our boundaries are, we know ourselves, then we're able to set up appropriate boundaries, set expectations in relationships, in friendships, at work. But we can't really do a lot of those things until we know ourselves. 4, it's a path to improvement and growth. So when you take time to know yourself and do a SWOT analysis, you identify your strengths and you build on them. But you also, at this point, identify your weaknesses and start to work on them. Get help if you need. Put things in place to grow those areas that are lacking. So knowing your weaknesses and looking at opportunities for growth are really important. So again, those 5. And the 5th reason is that it's an act of self-love. Not being self-centered, it's not being selfish. It's an act of self-love, taking time for yourself, to know yourself better and to put plans in place to be your better and best self every day. So those are the 5 whys. This is important. 1, it's key to navigating life and living in our truth, true, authentic lives. 2, it allows us to identify our priorities, our needs, our wants. 3, it helps us set boundaries and expectations around what we will or will not accept at work, in relationships and friendships. 4, it is a path to improvement, self-improvement and growth. And 5, it's an act of self-love. So those are the whys. In terms of the when, as often as possible, because life is not a static process, it's not a static thing. Things change in our life, seasons change, people around us change, situations change. So really taking time as often as we can to take time out to really know ourselves and really dig deep is really important. Then we get into the how. So how do you do this? Well, a lot of us don't take time to do that because we're scared of what we may find. We're scared of really accepting that we do have weaknesses, that there are threats to how things are going in our lives. And so we kind of stay busy. We get busy, we get distracted. And sometimes our distractions are not by bad things, in quote. They're, sometimes things we love, the people we love, our families, our children, our spouses, our work, things like that. But sometimes we need to take time to be quiet and still to learn ourselves. No distractions, ready to dig deep. And how we do it with 3 I's: intention, introspection, and inquiry. So 1 is setting the intention that I want to know myself better. I want to learn what makes me tick. I want to learn the things that I want. I want to learn how I come to my decision-making process. I want to learn myself so I can better live my truth. So it's 1 I. The first I is intention, knowing that self-discovery and knowing ourselves is important, setting that intention. 2 is introspection, which is then going deep. All right. So not looking at the externals and how situations affect how we do things, but our core. What are our core values? What are the things that make us tick? How do we get to how we make our decisions? What are the things that are important to us? And that requires introspection. With that introspection comes sometimes finding out deep flaws and weaknesses. With that sometimes can lead to periods of regret when people feel like we should have done something a different way or should not have done something. And sometimes it's that depth that allows us to grow, because then we get to that point. If we need to forgive people in our lives, we need to forgive ourselves to be able to move to that next stage of growth. So 2nd is introspection and taking the time to do that. And 3 is inquiry. So doing this with the sense of wanting to know. So not just do inquiry and picking out the good things, but really going into it as I want to know everything about myself, how I got to where I am now. What is it that drives me? What is my goal? What is my passion? What are my weaknesses? What are the things I can do better? How am I in relationships? How do I make people feel? So those are all very deep things. But if we go into these periods of depth and knowing ourselves with a sense of intention, introspection, and inquiry. So those are the 3 I's. And then the final part of that is, what do we need? Well, this is one of those times you say, just bring yourself. When you're invited to a party or something, you say, hey, what do you need me to bring? And your host or hostess says, yeah, just bring yourself. Just show up. Yeah, that's what it is. Bring yourself. This is all about you. You don't need any trappings. You don't need any of the extras or distractions or the externals. This is you in a quiet space. So what do you need? You need quiet time to really go deep, free of distractions, free of noise, free of people and work and stuff around you. So you need quiet time. It could be in short bursts, or it could be an extended period of time. It could be in the comfort of your own bedroom. It could be taking time away. Some people do these things where they check out for like a half day and go meditate somewhere. For some, it might be to take a whole day off to be by yourself somewhere. It could be done, in the comfort of your own home. Just a quiet space and a place where you have no distractions and you can take time to really talk to yourself and think through things. It can be extended period of time. You need space. You need privacy to be able to do this. And you need to be in a place where you're not judging yourself, a judgment-free zone. You need the privacy and space to be able to cry if you need to yell out, because sometimes you uncover some truths and hurts that make you want to just lash out and cry and yell and scream and let it all out. So you need that without everyone coming to say, are you okay? Is mom losing it? So you need that space, and you need to be able to have, if you need to write things down, because sometimes when I do these things where I just really just shut everything out and go deep, thoughts and things come to your mind. So if you have a journal, it might be a time to write things down. You might want to pencil things in your notes section. You might want to speak a few things into a voice recorder so you can listen back. But again, all you just need is yourself and in a space where you can do this stuff and just learn yourself, because you're going to emerge a better version of yourself, and then have action plans in place to work on whatever those weaknesses are. You also come out stronger, owning your strengths and able to put boundaries around what you will or will not accept. So as I round up, again, knowing yourself is a lifelong journey of self-discovery. Why is this important? 5 reasons. It's a key to navigating life in our truth, identifying our priorities and needs, setting boundaries and expectations. It's a path to improvement and growth, and it's an act of self-love. Do it as often as you can, because it's really important to dull out and dim out all the distractions. You don't need anything else but yourself and your mind in a quiet space, ready in a judgment-free way to learn yourself. And you do it with a sense of intention, going to a period of introspection, and with a mind of inquiry. And this will allow you to emerge a better version of yourself with an action plan in place. So knowing yourself is important, because when you know yourself, you can live in your truth and be an authentic person. So this is 10 Minutes with TmFal. Thank you for listening.